Have you ever met someone who just didn't seem quite right? Someone who seemed different, almost as if they weren't really there. That's what Hannah Fairchild thought when she met Danny, the mysterious new boy who moved in next door. Hannah Fairchild was just like any other 12-year-old, spending her summer days in the small, sleepy town she had known all her life. With her friends away at camp and nothing much happening around her, boredom had settled in like the heavy summer heat. The days stretched on endlessly, each one blending into the next, with nothing to break the monotony except for the occasional book or bike ride through the quiet, deserted streets. But everything changed the day she noticed something odd. For as long as she could remember, the house next door had always been empty, abandoned, really. Its shutters were always closed, the garden overgrown, and the paint peeling from years of neglect. No one ever mentioned it, and no one ever seemed to visit. It was just there, a forgotten relic of the past, blending into the background of her everyday life. That is, until one ordinary afternoon when Hannah noticed something strange. As she peered out of her window, she saw movement next door. People were bustling around, carrying boxes and furniture inside. It looked like a family was moving in. But how could that be? The house had been vacant for years, and she hadn't seen any for sale signs or moving trucks. Yet there they were, a boy around her age and his parents, settling into the house as if they had always belonged there. Curiosity piqued, Hannah decided to introduce herself to the new neighbors. The boy's name was Danny Anderson, and he seemed friendly enough. He had a kind smile and an easygoing manner, but there was something about him that Hannah couldn't quite put her finger on. He was distant, almost as if he was holding something back. Despite his friendliness, there was a sadness in his eyes that made Hannah wonder what his story was. As they began to spend time together, Hannah tried to get to know Danny better, but he was frustratingly vague about his past. He never talked about where he came from, what school he used to go to, or whether he had any old friends. Whenever she asked, he would change the subject or give her an evasive answer. What was he hiding? And why did he seem to appear and disappear so suddenly, without any explanation? Things became even stranger when Hannah started receiving mysterious letters. These weren't your ordinary notes from a friend or a neighbor. They were cryptic, ominous messages written in an unfamiliar handwriting. The letters warned her of danger, telling her to stay away, to be careful. But who could be sending them? And why were they targeting her? The lack of a return address only deepened the mystery, and Hannah found herself increasingly unnerved. Despite the growing sense of unease, Hannah continued to spend time with Danny. He was a puzzle she couldn't resist trying to solve. The more they hung out, the more she noticed the odd things that happened when he was around. Objects moved when they shouldn't, shadows seemed to lengthen and follow them, and a strange chill often filled the air. It was as if Danny brought a piece of the unknown with him wherever he went. One evening, as the two of them were playing outside, something truly bizarre happened. Danny vanished without a trace. One moment he was there, laughing and talking, and the next he was gone. Hannah searched everywhere, calling his name, but there was no sign of him. Panic set in as she realized that no one else seemed to have noticed his disappearance. When Danny finally reappeared, he brushed off her questions with a casual wave, offering no real explanation. But Hannah wasn't satisfied. She was determined to get to the bottom of this growing mystery. Hannah's suspicion grew as she tried to discuss Danny with her family. Strangely, her mother acted as if she had no idea what Hannah was talking about. She dismissed Hannah's concerns as childish imagination, claiming there was no one living next door. Even when Hannah described Danny in detail, her mother remained unconvinced, leaving Hannah more confused than ever. How could her mother not know about the family that had moved in right next door? Determined to uncover the truth, Hannah decided to investigate on her own. She began by delving into the history of the house next door, hoping to find some clue that would explain the eerie occurrences. What she discovered sent a chill down her spine. Years ago, the house had been the site of a terrible tragedy, a fire that had destroyed the home and claimed the lives of the family living there. Among the victims was a boy named Danny Anderson, who was the same age as Hannah. The revelation was like a punch to the gut. How could Danny be dead if she had been spending time with him every day? The idea seemed impossible, yet the evidence was undeniable. Hannah's mind raced with questions. Was Danny a ghost? If so, why was he here? And what did he want from her? The mystery that had once intrigued her now filled her with dread. That night, Hannah was haunted by a vivid, terrifying dream. In it, she relived the fire that had killed Danny and his family. She saw Danny trapped inside the burning house, desperately trying to escape but unable to find a way out. The flames roared around him, and the heat was unbearable. Hannah could feel the panic and fear in the air, and she woke up in a cold sweat, her heart pounding. The dream felt so real, as if Danny had been trying to communicate with her from beyond the grave. The next day, Hannah couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was about to happen. She decided to follow Danny, determined to find out where he went when he disappeared. She trailed him to an old, neglected cemetery on the edge of town. As she hid behind a tree, she watched in horror as Danny walked up to a gravestone his own. The gravestone was weathered and covered in moss, but the inscription was clear: Danny Anderson, beloved son, taken too soon. Hannah's worst fears were confirmed. Danny was indeed a ghost, trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead. But why was he still here? What was keeping him from moving on? Desperate for answers, Hannah confronted Danny, and this time he didn't evade her questions. He confessed that he didn't remember much about the fire or how he became a ghost. All he knew was that he was stuck in this town, unable to leave, and that he had been trying to protect Hannah from a mysterious danger. The letters Hannah had been receiving? They were from Danny, a warning about something terrible that was going to happen. But before Danny could explain further, the danger he had been warning her about became real. A fire broke out in the neighborhood, eerily similar to the one that had claimed Danny's life years ago. The flames spread quickly, threatening to consume everything in their path. Danny urged Hannah to leave, to save herself and her family, but she refused to abandon him. With Danny's help, Hannah managed to alert her family and guide them to safety, preventing history from repeating itself. As they stood together, watching the firemen battle the flames, Hannah realized that Danny's mission was finally fulfilled. By helping her and saving her family, he had found a way to make peace with his past. As the fire died down, Hannah turned to thank Danny, but he was already fading away, his form becoming more and more transparent. The last time she saw him, he was walking toward a distant light, a peaceful smile on his face. Finally, he was at rest. The house next door, which had been so full of mystery and fear, returned to its abandoned state, as if Danny and his family had never been there at all. Hannah was left with the memories of a summer that had been anything but ordinary. She had made a friend who wasn't what he seemed and had learned that sometimes the past has a way of coming back not to haunt us, but to save us. The Ghost Next Door is a haunting tale of friendship, mystery, and the thin line between life and death, a story that lingers long after the last page is turned, reminding us that some secrets are worth uncovering, no matter how frightening they may be. If this eerie tale of the ghost next door gave you chills, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the mystery, and share your thoughts or any ghostly experiences you've had in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Let's keep the conversation going and explore more thrilling stories together. Until next time, goodbye.